take a look at what customs officers found when they searched two passengers arriving at JFK Airport. Investigators say the men arrived on the same flight from Santo Domingo with more than 20 pounds of...
Sometimes airport security uncovers things so bizarre and so jaw-dropping, it's hard to believe they were ever there in the first place. What happens when someone tries to smuggle live exotic animals in their luggage? Or when security scans reveal ancient artifacts, human skulls, or even items that could belong in a spy movie? Airport security has literally seen it all, and in this video, we'll be taking you behind the X-ray machines and unraveling 20 of the wildest and craziest things found by airport security. Number 20. Dead snakes. In 2007, security officers at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport encountered a day they'd never forget when they stumbled upon an unusual and shocking discovery. Inside a man's luggage, customs agents found an astonishing haul of 30 dead snakes and several birds, all carefully packed in jars and bottles. The man had been traveling from South Korea to Atlanta, and his peculiar cargo raised immediate red flags. And even though the animals were no longer alive, U.S. Fish and Wildlife officers had to tread carefully. The man faced fines totaling $800 for multiple violations. One quotation was for failing to declare his unusual cargo, and the other was for breaking laws designed to protect endangered species. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service noted that many of these animals are commonly used in traditional Chinese or Asian medicine. Adding to the intrigue, some of the snakes were found with scorpions in their mouths and were preserved in a medicinal wine often consumed in specific cultural practices. This preservation method suggested that the animals might have been destined for use in folk remedies believed to promote health or vitality. But that's not all. Halfway across the world, airport staff uncovered something even more unsettling. Number 19. Spider footwear. Airport staff at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport in the Philippines were going about their usual routine when they came across a package that immediately sets off alarms not for its size, weight, or suspicious labels, but for what's hiding inside. As they peel back the layers of this unusual parcel, they discover 119 live tarantulas, carefully stashed inside a pair of Asics running shoes. The Bureau of Customs later shared the bizarre find on Facebook, revealing that the package had been sent all the way from Poland by an individual named Michael Kinky. Its destination was General Trias, Cavite, in the Philippines. The unusual packaging alone had raised suspicions, prompting officials to take a closer look. Inside, the tarantulas were neatly placed in small plastic jars, hidden within the shoes, as if they were just another unusual souvenir. However, in the Philippines, owning or trading tarantulas isn't just strange, it's illegal. These spiders are considered endangered, and smuggling them into the country can land you in serious trouble. Violators face fines and jail time ranging from 6 months to a full year. And just when we thought airport security had seen it all, this new case from Spain shattered expectations in the most alarming way. Number 18. The Suitcase Stowaway. In a deeply unsettling case from Spain, the lengths to which a desperate father went to reunite with his 8-year-old son left authorities and the public alike in shock. The man, unable to navigate legal avenues for bringing his child into the country, turned to smugglers for help. But the plan they devised was not only illegal, but dangerously reckless. It involved sneaking the boy into Spain by hiding him inside a suitcase. The incident happened at a routine security checkpoint at Ceuta, a Spanish enclave bordering Morocco. Airport security officers, trained to detect suspicious packages, were alarmed when a suitcase triggered an unusual scanner alert. Upon inspection, they made a shocking discovery. A young boy, curled up in the cramped confines of the bag, clearly terrified and struggling to process the ordeal. Thankfully, the child was unharmed and immediately placed under protective care. The father, however, was swiftly arrested, facing harsh legal consequences for his role in the scheme. During interrogations, both the father and his son claimed they were unaware of the smugglers' exact plan, but the gravity of the situation left little room for leniency in the eyes of the law. Interestingly, thousands of miles away, an even more bizarre discovery unfolded. Number 17. A dead body. In 2016, at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, TSA officers were shocked when a body was rolled up for screening. It wasn't a passenger though, but rather what appeared to be a decaying corpse dressed in white, ready to be X-rayed. Naturally, this traveler caused quite a stir among both staff and onlookers. However, after a thorough inspection, it turned out the weird figure wasn't a real body at all, but a prop from the 2003 horror film Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The realistic appearance of the figure had everyone fooled initially, but once the TSA officers realized it was harmless, they cleared it for travel. One staff member even snapped a picture of the strange movie prop being screened and playfully commented, "He was checked out and sent on his way." The TSA later shared the peculiar discovery on their Instagram account, captioning the post with a cheeky line, "Talk about deadheading. This old-timer is actually from the movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre." The light-hearted post quickly gained attention, highlighting the odd but amusing encounters TSA staff sometimes face. While this movie prop at Atlanta's airport turned heads in an amusing twist, a shipment at Chicago's O'Hare a few years earlier left jaws dropping for entirely different reasons. Number 16. Severed heads. In 2013, a rather unusual shipment arrived at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport, leaving many people scratching their heads. This wasn't a typical cargo, it was a box containing 18 human heads, still covered in skin. Surprisingly, there was nothing threatening about it. The shipment had been sent from researchers in Rome and was intended for a morgue in Chicago for proper handling. The heads were preserved and clearly marked as a medical shipment, making the whole process completely legitimate. However, there was an interruption. Someone had forgotten to file a crucial piece of paperwork, which temporarily left the shipment in void. Authorities at the airport treated the incident with surprising nonchalance, explaining that transporting human body parts for medical purposes is actually quite common. Schools, hospitals, and research institutions often receive these shipments for educational and scientific use. According to officials, the mix-up was nothing more than an official obstacle, and in faraway Bangkok authorities uncovered a far more sinister cargo. What began as a routine luggage check quickly spiraled into a shocking discovery that left authorities reeling. Number 15. The tiger cub smuggling. An incredible and shocking incident happened at Bangkok's Suvarnabhumi airport that left both authorities and the public astounded. Airport security officers were performing routine luggage checks when they came across what appeared to be an ordinary suitcase filled with packed animals. At first glance, it seemed to be a shipment of luxury toys destined for a non-profit organization. But as the security team inspected further, they made a jaw-dropping discovery. A live tiger cub, heavily confident, hidden among the toys. The little cub, estimated to be around 2 months old, was carefully pushed away as though it were just another soft toy. Authorities believe the calming was intended to keep the tiger quiet during the journey. The suitcase's owner, a 31-year-old Thai woman, was attempting to board a flight to Iran, where the cub was suspected to be destined for the illegal wildlife trade, a multi-billion-dollar black market dealing in exotic animals. This discovery sparked widespread outrage and concern about the extreme measures smugglers take to transport live animals illegally. Not only was the cub's health at risk due to the sleeping pills, but the cramped and concealed environment of the suitcase could have led to suffocation or worse if it had gone unnoticed. The authorities acted swiftly, rescuing the cub and placing it under the care of Thailand's Wildlife Conservation Office. The smuggler was arrested on the spot, facing charges of violating international wildlife protection laws. But Bangkok wasn't the only airport to uncover something bizarre. Thousands of miles away in New York, TSA agents stumbled upon a discovery just as peculiar hidden among a passenger's belongings. Number 14. Baby shark. At Syracuse Hancock International Airport in New York, a TSA agent pulls out a sealed bottle containing a baby shark. A passenger had attempted to carry a preserved baby shark in a jar onto their flight. This unusual discovery shocked the passengers. TSA agents confiscated the item immediately. While it's not every day you encounter a marine creature among carry-on items, it's important to note that such objects often violate TSA's strict policies regarding transporting biological specimens. These regulations exist not just for safety, but to prevent the illegal transport of endangered species or unauthorized items. While the passenger may have thought their unique keepsake would sail through security unnoticed, this wasn't the case. Preserved animals in liquid-filled containers typically fall under the category of restricted items due to the potential hazards posed by liquids on flights. But if you thought a baby shark in a jar was shocking, imagine a swarm of live tarantulas spilling out at an airport checkpoint. Number 13. 200 tarantulas. Amsterdam's Schiphol Airport witnessed a horrific event in 2012 when hundreds of tarantulas tossed from someone's bag. This chilling encounter became an unforgettable reality. It all began when a German couple, returning from a trip to Peru and transferring planes in Amsterdam, had their luggage flagged during a routine X-ray scan. Security personnel noticed something strange in their bags. At first, it was unclear what they were looking at. But one thing was certain: spiders had no business being part of someone's travel essentials. When the bags were opened for inspection, the team was horrified to discover small containers brimming with over 200 live tarantulas. But the surprises didn't stop there. Alongside the spiders were beetles, millipedes, and grasshoppers, all very much alive. It was a classic zoo of creepy crawlies concealed within the couple's personal belongings. The Dutch Finance Ministry later confirmed the bizarre seizure, explaining that all the creatures were confiscated and handed over to authorities for further examination, because these insects and animals weren't just unsettling, they posed potential health risks. Officials had to investigate whether the animals carried any diseases, especially since they were likely captured directly from the wild. Sadly, the tale of wildlife trafficking doesn't end here. Just a few years later in Melbourne, airport authorities uncovered an even stranger haul, proving that smugglers will stop at nothing to profit from the world's rarest animals. Number 12. Native lizards. Back in 2019, a shocking incident happened at Melbourne Airport, when a 27-year-old Japanese woman was caught trying to smuggle 19 Australian lizards in her luggage. This was no ordinary airport security stop. Thanks to a tip-off from Australian contacts in Hong Kong, the authorities were able to intercept the woman just before she boarded her flight back to Japan. As she passed through security, an X-ray scan of her bag revealed something suspicious: web bags hidden inside her suitcase. Upon further inspection, Australian Border Force officers found 17 shingleback lizards and 2 blue-tongue lizards tightly packed into the web parcels. These reptiles, native to Australia, were likely being smuggled for the illegal pet trade or to be trafficked further down the line. The woman, identified as Okinawan, was arrested and detained by the Border Force officers. While wildlife smuggling remains a constant threat at airports, security officers are equally vigilant when it comes to detecting hidden weapons. Number 11. Knife in laptop. Security officers at Richmond International Airport in Virginia made a startling discovery: a double-bladed knife cleverly hidden inside the casing of a laptop. The weapon, concealed so artfully, demonstrated an alarming level of ingenuity that required sharp-eyed officers to detect. Robin Burke, the TSA Federal Security Director, emphasized the significance of this find, stating, "Detecting cleverly concealed weapons highlights the dedication, training, and expertise of our officers. Their mission is clear: to ensure that prohibited items capable of causing harm never make it onto a flight." Instances like this underline the importance of airport security protocols. Every day, TSA officers are tasked with identifying threats in an ever-evolving landscape of concealment tactics. From knives hidden in laptops to other bizarre attempts like weapons disguised as everyday objects, their vigilance helps ensure the safety of millions of passengers. And in faraway Dallas, a routine inspection at the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport revealed a disturbing find. Number 10. The unexpected cargo. In 2020, during a routine baggage inspection at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, TSA officers stumbled upon a shocking discovery that raised serious health concerns. As they went through one particular suitcase, they were horrified to find several dead birds packed inside. The owner of the luggage claimed the birds were meant to be used as food for cats, a rather unusual and dubious explanation that left everyone questioning the truth. Things took a more alarming turn when it was revealed that the person importing the birds was from China, a country that had been struggling with multiple health concerns related to animal-to-human transmission of viruses. Given the timing, 2020, a year already marked by the global spread of COVID-19, health officials grew immediately concerned about the potential for bird flu to spread. In light of the potential risk, the TSA made the decisive and cautious choice to incinerate the birds on site. This was done to ensure that any viruses or pathogens carried by the birds would not spread to other travelers, airport staff, or the broader public. But dead birds weren't the only shocking cargo to make its way through airport security that year. The Miami International Airport equally became the unlikely battleground for one of the most bizarre and high-stakes smuggling attempt. Number 9. Snakes and tortoises. In Miami International Airport, a man was caught trying to smuggle no fewer than 7 exotic snakes, along with 3 tortoises, by concealing them inside his clothing. The snakes were stuffed in his pants, which sound like something straight out of a comedy sketch, but it was far from funny for the man. The snakes were no ordinary garden variety species either. These were rare and often highly sought-after exotic snakes, and the man was attempting to bring them into the US illegally. Among the species were ball pythons and boa constrictors, which can fetch huge sums on the black market. Unfortunately for him, his plan was foiled when the airport's security team found the reptiles during a routine inspection. The man was arrested on charges of smuggling exotic animals, and if convicted, he could face up to 5 years in prison. But in faraway India, Kolkata airport staff uncovered something even more shocking, revealing an entirely different kind of smuggling operation. Number 8. $1.2 million in gold bars. An ordinary day at an airport in Kolkata, India. The aircraft maintenance crew, just wrapping up their end-of-day checks on a Boeing 737, were expecting to find the usual mess: candy wrappers, discarded napkins, and maybe a forgotten coffee cup or two. But what they stumbled upon was far from ordinary. Hidden inside a bathroom compartment, the crew found 2 bags, neatly packed and carefully concealed. At first glance, they seemed like just another piece of unclaimed luggage. But when they opened the bags, their jaws dropped. Inside were 24 gold bars, gleaming and perfectly packed, each one worth around $1.2 million. The crew had no idea what they were dealing with at first, but after a closer inspection, it quickly became clear. They had uncovered a massive smuggling operation. Airport Director BP Sharma called it quite a surprise, and it's easy to see why. The flight carrying this mysterious cargo had arrived in Kolkata after traveling from Mumbai to Bangkok, Thailand, before making its way back. Experts believe the gold, which weighed in at a hefty 53 pounds, likely came from the United Arab Emirates UAE, a region known for its large gold markets. But the big question remained: why was the gold hidden in a bathroom, of all places? Smuggling gold isn't a new issue at Indian airports. In fact, the practice of concealing gold in unsuspecting places like hand luggage or even clothing has led to numerous arrests over the years. But this particular discovery raised more questions than answers. Since the gold wasn't labeled and the bags were not checked in or registered, finding the person responsible for hiding it seemed like a near impossible task. Authorities were quick to launch an investigation, but as of now, no arrests have been made. It's likely that unless the bags were somehow tracked back to their owner, the mystery will remain unsolved. While gold bars were hidden in plain sight in Kolkata, the world of smuggling often involves far more creative and bizarre methods, like the one seen here, Delhi's airport. Number 7. Biscuit and peanuts. Something truly bizarre went down at Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport. It all started innocently enough: a bag of peanuts, some biscuits and cookies. But when officers decided to take a closer look, they uncovered a shocking secret. The peanuts on the outside looked like an average snack, but when the shells were cracked open, out came tightly rolled foreign currency notes. Each note was carefully rolled, tied with a thread, and carefully packed into the hollowed shells. Then came the meatballs. At first glance, they appeared to be standard chunks of crispy meat. But when the officers probed further, they found they were empty and packed with even more cash. The creativity didn't stop there. The next surprise was inside biscuit boxes. These looked perfectly ordinary on the surface, but when the officers dug deeper, they found round spaces holding plastic cylinders. The person behind this ingenious yet bizarre smuggling operation was Murad Alam. He's currently in the custody of the Delhi police, who are very eager to get to the bottom of this strange case. After discovering one of the most inventive smuggling schemes ever seen, airport staff have often encountered similarly strange and amusing situations. Number 6. Smelly and unusual food. Over the years, airport staff have encountered everything from strange snacks to entire meals packed into carry-ons, resulting in some unforgettable and hilarious moments. One particularly bizarre incident that grabbed headlines involved a traveler attempting to carry a whole roasted pig in their carry-on bag. It was a full-sized, glistening roasted pig, complete with crispy skin. Imagine the confusion on the faces of security agents as they tried to figure out how to process such an unconventional item. While technically not against airline regulations, the sight of a roasted pig squeezing through the X-ray scanner caused quite a commotion, with some travelers stopping to snap photos while others exchanged amused glances. Another incident was the infamous durian incidents. Durians, often called the king of fruits, are native to Southeast Asia and are famous or infamous for their overpowering smell, which some describe as a mix of rotten onions and gym socks. In one memorable case, a passenger traveling with durians caused such a stink literally that security had to temporarily clear the area after multiple complaints from other passengers. The powerful odor was so strong it triggered gag reflexes and left staff scrambling to contain the situation. While some airport smuggling attempts are memorable for their sheer absurdity, others take a more devious and cunning approach. In Colombia, a smuggler's attempt to disguise cocaine as a fake pregnancy took creativity to a whole new level. But as usual, airport security wasn't fooled. Now it's time for today's subscriber's pick. It was just another ordinary afternoon at the bustling airport. Luggage wheels clicked on the tiled floors, the scent of overpriced coffee lingered in the air, and overhead announcements echoed, reminding everyone to keep their passports handy and their seatbelts fastened. In the midst of this controlled chaos stood TSA officer Sarah, a seasoned veteran who had worked the security line for over a decade. She'd seen it all, everything from travelers attempting to sneak in contraband to the occasional passenger mistakenly setting off the metal detector with a forgotten belt buckle. But then a woman caught her eye. A figure stood at the head of the line, causing an immediate stir. The woman was striking, her tall, confident posture turning heads as she moved with deliberate grace. But it wasn't her height or the stylish, colorful dress she wore that drew attention. The woman's backside was massive. No, not just big, it was absolutely huge. The kind of size that made heads turn for all the wrong reasons. Sarah blinked, her seasoned professionalism giving way to confusion. The woman's curves were so exaggerated, it almost seemed too much to be real. She gave the woman an once-over and signaled her to step through the metal detector. The detector beeped, and Sarah glanced at the screen displaying the woman's image. There was a strange, unclear shape around her waist, the kind of irregularity that set off every alarm bell in Sarah's mind. Sarah called out, her voice calm but firm. The woman, a bit panicked but not visibly distressed, nodded and complied. Sarah told the woman to lift her dress just enough for them to investigate the abnormality. To her shock, what she saw was a high-tech, padded device designed to make the woman's backside look even more enormous. It was a carefully crafted padding system, carved in such a way that it mimicked the look of a natural body part. It was so realistic that if Sarah didn't know better, she would have sworn it was her actual body. What would you have thought if you saw someone with such exaggerated features in an airport security line? Share your thoughts and comments below. But across the globe in Colombia, airport security encountered a smuggling tactic even more bizarre. This time, it wasn't exaggerated curves that raised suspicions, but a baby bump with a chilling secret inside. Number 5. Fake pregnancy smuggling. A shocking event occurred in Colombia where smuggling took a bizarre and highly creative turn. Instead of resorting to the more common and dangerous practice of hiding drugs internally, a smuggler came up with a cunning tactic: faking a pregnancy. The artificial belly wasn't just any makeshift attempt. It was carefully crafted to resemble the natural shape and size of a pregnant abdomen. However, things didn't go as smoothly as planned. During routine checks at the airport, a sharp-eyed agent noticed something unusual. The baby bump felt strangely cold and unnaturally hard, sparking immediate suspicion. Curiosity turned into investigation, and further examination exposed the truth. Inside the void, synthetic belly were 2 kilograms of cocaine neatly packed and hidden away. This unconventional method of smuggling, while ingenious in its concept, was incredibly risky and ultimately unsuccessful. And just when you think smugglers couldn't get any craftier, the stakes rise even higher. In Los Angeles, officers uncovered a chilling scheme involving deadly pills disguised as innocent candy. Number 4. Fentanyl candy. Imagine walking through one of the busiest airports in the world, Los Angeles International Airport, where millions of passengers pass through each year. Amid the hustle and bustle, TSA officers made a shocking discovery that could have had dangerous consequences. They confiscated a staggering 12,000 fentanyl pills, enough to endanger countless lives, hidden in the most unlikely place: candy boxes and bags. The suspect, who was attempting to sneak the pills past airport security, had cleverly disguised them to look like harmless treats. According to the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, this wasn't just a small stash, it was a significant quantity of the deadly synthetic drug, which is 50 to 100 times more powerful than morphine. Authorities believe the smuggler may have intended to transport the drugs for distribution, a harsh reminder of the ongoing battle against the drug crisis in the United States. Fentanyl overdoses have been a leading cause of drug-related deaths, with even a tiny dose capable of being harmful. From candy boxes to wheelchair wheels, smugglers continue to push the boundaries of creativity. Number 3. The wheelchair drug bust. In 2022, an unusual and ultimately doomed attempt to smuggle drugs was intercepted at New York's John F. Kennedy International Airport. Customs and Border Protection officers, always on the lookout for suspicious activity, made a shocking discovery: nearly 28 pounds of cocaine ingeniously hidden inside the wheels of a passenger's wheelchair. The plot began to unravel when officers noticed that the wheelchair's wheels weren't functioning as smoothly as they should. This mechanical misfit raised immediate red flags. When questioned, the traveler using the wheelchair provided unclear and unconvincing answers, further fueling the officers' suspicions. A quick decision was made to conduct a closer inspection. Using an X-ray scanner, the officers found what they hoped they wouldn't: a cache of tightly packed white powder concealed within the wheelchair's wheels. Laboratory tests later confirmed their fears. It was cocaine. The traveler was swiftly arrested and handed over to Homeland Security investigations for further questioning and prosecution. But unlike this catch, this other one completely redefined the meaning of unusual contraband. Number 2. Human skull fragments. In 2013, 2 American tourists had quite the unexpected end to their trip to Cuba. As they made their way back home through Fort Lauderdale, Florida, they carried with them what they believed to be innocent souvenirs: sealed clay pots bought from a local religious shop. These pots, they were told, were meant to ward off evil spirits. However, when airport security screened their luggage, what started as a routine check quickly turned into a strange discovery. Inside the clay pots were not trinkets or charms, but fragments of human bones, specifically pieces of human skulls. The discovery sent shockwaves through the airport, and authorities immediately began questioning the women. They seemed just as surprised as anyone else. The tourists insisted they had no idea about the horrible contents and explained they had purchased the pots simply as unique keepsakes, drawn to their supposed spiritual significance. To their relief, investigators believed their story. After determining there was no ill intent, the women were allowed to continue their journey to Baltimore. However, this bizarre incident left one crucial question unanswered: whose skulls were these, and how did they end up in clay pots sold to unsuspecting tourists? As investigators dug deeper, the focus shifted to the religious shop in Cuba where the pots were purchased. It's not uncommon for items tied to Afro-Cuban religions, such as Santeria or Palo Mayombe, to feature symbolic uses of bones or other organic materials. In these spiritual practices, bones may serve as tools in rituals or be used to honor spirits and ancestors. But bizarre discoveries at airport checkpoints don't end with fragments of human skulls. Just a year earlier, TSA agents encountered something equally unexpected: this time involving an unusual piece of medieval-inspired hardware. Number 1. A chastity belt. Chastity belt is a device historically designed to prevent sexual activity or masturbation, often associated with the Renaissance period. While it might sound like something straight out of a medieval story, chastity belts still exist today, primarily used within certain place communities, including the BDSM scene, as a symbol or tool for control and trust. In 2012, the Transportation Security Administration shared on their official blog an unusual encounter with a traveler sporting such a device. As expected, the metal framework of the belt triggered the airport's security scanners. This understandably led to raised eyebrows among security officers and required a conversation with the passenger to clarify the situation. The individual in question was cooperative and explained the reasons for wearing the device. Though the incident could have easily twisted into a more significant trial, the TSA ultimately allowed the passenger to board the plane without much trouble. Their key concern was ensuring the belt posed no safety threat or concealed anything dangerous. Once that was confirmed, the incident ended without further drama. Interestingly, this odd encounter sparked a lot of conversation online, especially since the TSA used the incident as an example of how they handle unusual situations with discretion. It was also a moment of humor for many, as people shared jokes and questions about the practicality of wearing such a device during travel. Outro. What's the wildest thing you can imagine trying to smuggle, and how far would you go to outsmart airport security? Share your thoughts in the comments below.